What's up, NZers?
Hi!
And welcome back to another family reaction video. Today we're going to be checking out another military vehicle, and that's one that we haven't done in quite a while. So this is part of that whole series, and we've checked out like the Warthog, the Apache helicopter, the F-22 Raptor jet, the F-35 Lightning jet, and apparently the F-47, which is the latest technology from the US military in terms of like stealth fighter jets. I think it's just been given the code name the Phoenix.
Ooh.
So the F-47 Phoenix is what this is, and apparently it's like out of this world. It's the first sixth generation jet in the world.
Wow.
So,
when was it released?
I think it's all sort of just coming out now.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's a super recent thing.
The cool thing about checking out these military vehicles and stuff like that is that when we are traveling in the US, we sometimes see some of them and we can
like
see what
in the
they
sky
are.
and stuff like that.
We
or
see
like,
them flying over at air bases.
or being transported along the highway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
So it's cool to like get this knowledge before we travel because we can actually see these things in action sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And this one's called the US Stealth Monster F-47 is already flying secret missions. So, that's kind of scary.
The era of US air dominance is entering a new chapter, one forged in secrecy, speed, and staggering power. For over a decade, the F-35 ruled the skies, its fifth-generation tech putting America miles ahead of the competition. But that crown is already being passed on, quietly. Because while the world was still debating the price tag of next-gen air power, the next generation was already airborne. Enter the F-47.
Yeah.
A shadow jet born under the Next Generation Air Dominance program, a sixth-generation monster that's not just real, it's already flying top-secret missions. And if the rumors are true, it's unlike anything the world has ever seen. Let's take a closer look at everything we know about the F-47 so far, and why it could completely rewrite the rules of aerial warfare. This next-gen fighter is being sent out to test its systems and has been doing so for at least 3 years. The news comes straight from President Donald Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who revealed that aircraft manufacturer Boeing beat out Lockheed Martin's offering to win the $20 billion contract to produce the planes for the US military and its allies. Even more surprisingly, the new planes are supposed to become fully operational and integrated into the armed forces by the end of the 2020s. So let's dive into everything we know about the F-47 so far, how it compares to current generation aircraft, and what it means for the future of warfare. But first, let's go over what the most recent announcements suggest about the aircraft's progress. According to DARPA, the aircraft has been in active testing since at least 2019. DARPA also states that two types of demonstrator and testing aircraft, made by Boeing and Lockheed Martin, have accumulated hundreds of flight hours from that time. Boeing and Lockheed Martin have been the two principal manufacturers for US fighter aircraft for over 30 years now. DARPA suggested that active involvement in the program began in 2014, leading to an approximately 10-year developmental process. Furthermore, Trump's announcement that the aircraft would go into service by 2030 makes the F-47 one of the most quickly developed fighter jets in modern times. For reference, the F-35 was designed throughout the 1990s, reached demonstrator aircraft phase around 1996, and the first actual F-35 took flight in 2006. Still, it took 9 more years before the F-35 became part of the US Marine Corps, the first branch of the US Armed Forces to include the aircraft. When you compare the two timelines, you can see that the F-47 might have a much faster turnaround than previous fighter jet models. This might largely be due to the need for more effective modern defenses, specifically in the wake of increased space-bound surveillance and the development of the US Space Force. Supporting this sped-up development is the increased military budget, as the numbers behind the F-47 program are reshaping America's entire defense strategy. Congress didn't just approve the funding for the F-47, it cannibalized other programs to pay for it. The 2026 defense budget proposal will cut F-35 procurement from 74 aircraft to just 47, redirecting those billions toward next-generation systems. The A-10 Warthog, beloved by ground troops but increasingly vulnerable to modern air defenses, faces complete retirement by the end of 2026 to fund advanced platforms like the F-47 and B-21 Raider. These moves are a fundamental strategic pivot. The Pentagon is betting America's future on platforms that can operate in highly contested environments against near-peer adversaries rather than supporting counterinsurgency operations. The F-47 program alone is projected to cost over $100 billion across its lifetime, with each aircraft carrying a price tag approaching $300 million. That's more than double the cost of an F-35. But some Pentagon officials argue the capability gap justifies the expense, which we'll get to in a moment. The 2026 budget, for example, could allocate roughly $3.5 billion for F-47 F-47 development, which is practically a 50% increase from the previous budget of only $2.4 billion. Beginning in 2025, the Air Force planned to inject roughly $20 billion into the development of the aircraft over the next 5 years, which would extend to 2029, the anticipated date when the aircraft is expected to become deployment-worthy for active use in the US Air Force. The recent overhauls to the budget could flip the script to a more hardline approach where the US tries to funnel as much funding as possible to US fighter jet developments. This is in line with Trump's proposals to get the US military budget to above $1 trillion in 2026, breaking all previous military spending records.
Wow.
The budget reallocation also reflects hard lessons learned from Ukraine, where expensive platforms become liabilities in drone-saturated environments. The F-47 has advanced stealth capabilities and can more easily operate from standoff distances. This makes it an ideal platform for long-range warfare and brings it up to 21st century standards. And there's the matter of the name. The F-47 harkens back to the P-47 fighter bomber that was hailed as indestructible during World War II. As the heaviest single-engine fighter at the time, the P-47 could absorb enemy hits and remain flight-worthy. Coincidentally, when the naming schematic was revised after the war, the designation for P-47 for pursuit was changed to F-47.
That's why it's called the F-47.
The US Air Force
that's
a
awesome.
branch of the US military in 1947, and Trump, who announced the project's advancement to development and procurement, is the 47th President of the United States. With a name like that, the F-47 is a clear signal that the US Air Force plans to maintain a stranglehold on air supremacy for decades to come, driven by ambitious projects like the billions in spending that will be allocated to place the F-47 miles above the competition. With that said, let's dive into what makes the F-47 one of the most advanced aerial platforms yet, and why it might just justify all the hype. Let's start with the F-47's brain, designed to push air warfare into a new era.
Completely AI-driven.
Builds on what the F-35 pioneered with sensor fusion, combining radar, infrared, and electronic warfare data into a single integrated picture, but with significantly more speed, range, and processing power. Reports suggest the F-47 will feature a next-generation radar system that could exceed even the F-22's long-range detection capabilities. Where things start to get interesting is in how the F-47 handles threats. While the exact systems are classified, it's believed the aircraft will incorporate adaptive mission systems capable of rapidly processing new electronic warfare signatures and sharing data with nearby aircraft. Unlike legacy jets that rely on updates from ground stations, the F-47 may be able to adjust its responses dynamically, effectively acting as a flying command node.
Updates on the go.
Onboard computing power, less a fighter jet and more a supercomputer with wings.
Wow.
That's the whole point. Enter the Collaborative Combat Aircraft Program, or CCA. With the CCA, there's no focus on a single fighter in the sky anymore. Instead, the CCA replaces a single aircraft with an entire battle network, all commanded by a single fighter jet in real time. The F-47 would basically amount to a command and control center for the most sophisticated drone swarm ever deployed. These aren't your basic reconnaissance drones either. The YFQ-42A and the YFQ-44A CCAs are essentially unmanned fighters in their own right, each carrying advanced air-to-air missiles and other precision strike weapons, while maintaining stealth signatures of current generation fighters. However, being unmanned, the aircraft's cross-section can be greatly slimmed down, further reducing its visibility in enemy airspace. The CCAs will be responsible for conducting the actual strikes. The F-47's pilot or weapons system officer, depending on the configuration Boeing settles on, which we'll discuss later, can use the aircraft's advanced radar and detection systems to zero in on viable targets. Then, it can direct semi-autonomous CCA drones, which will deploy long-range missiles at ranges approaching that of traditional.
So it can go up with like a fleet of unmanned drones and control them all, like attack them.
A single F-47 can command multiple semi-autonomous wingmen simultaneously. While the F-22 was designed for one-on-one aerial duels or precision strikes, the F-47 turns every engagement into a coordinated swarm attack, where the enemy faces impossible odds. And there's always an option of bringing more F-47s for a mission, which opens the door for true swarm tactics that can overwhelm the enemy detection systems and defenses. The CCAs operate with advanced AI systems that would have seemed like science fiction just 5 years ago. They can identify targets, select weapons, and execute attacks with minimal human oversight. But they never go fully autonomous for lethal decisions. The human operator will be in charge of the final decision to let the drone launch its projected attacks, giving that final but important bit of control over to the US forces. As far as the procurement figures go, May 2025 reports suggest that there will be at least 185 F-47s built for the US military. By contrast, the US government plans to acquire over 1,000 CCA drones, based on projections tied to future NGAD and F-35 fleet integration. And those are just the estimates as of now, before the first production models even roll out. There's a possibility that more modern designs will come out to shatter these figures. Speaking of the aircraft's ability to engage targets at range, there are two major aspects of how it's meant to accomplish that. First, there's the engagement range for long-range weaponry. For the F-47, this is estimated to be over 1,000 nautical
my
miles,
goodness.
far higher than any other fighter jet in existence.
It can
top
engage
speeds
with a
surpassing
target.
Mach 2. The
I think
high speed and long
1,852
range will
kilometers
supposedly
away.
come from the more advanced sensor capabilities, as well as evolving integrations of detection systems across platforms. Until we get more details, the best running theory is that the aircraft will be able to leverage space satellites for detection, then use its fleet of CCA drones to bridge the gap between itself and enemy aircraft or strategic targets. After that, the CCA drones, which are marketed as having an admirable engagement range of around 700 nautical miles, would take over, lugging their precision strike missiles and bombs the last miles before actual launch. The second part of how the F-47 plans to keep the game firmly in America's corner is through stealth. The F-47's stealth capabilities have been categorized as Stealth++, a classification that literally didn't exist before this aircraft.
Oh,
The F-22's
created a
stealth
whole new
design focused primarily on
category.
defeating radar systems from the 1990s. The F-47 was built to remain invisible against threats that might not even exist at the time the aircraft takes its maiden flight for the US Air Force. The actual model of operation is highly classified, of course.
Future-proofing.
The best theories we have are that the material and paint itself will be more effective at breaking radio wave patterns. The F-47 would also likely include active stealth systems that can generate counter-signals to cancel out radar returns entirely, making it effectively invisible rather than just difficult to detect. For comparison, the F-35, whose stealth technology designation was just stealth, is said to have a radar cross-section of 0.005 meters squared in the frontal view, and the F-22 with Stealth Plus is rumored to have a radar cross-section of 0.0001 meters squared. By simple logic, the radar signature of the
It's like
F-47 should be even lower, which would defy imagination. But the design images we've seen are probably unreliable. Defense officials have confirmed that the renderings released so far are placeholders, not intended to reflect the final F-47 configuration, specifically to prevent adversaries from developing countermeasures. China and Russia are undoubtedly analyzing every released image, so the Pentagon is likely releasing carefully curated disinformation about the aircraft's true appearance.
That's probably why it explains the two weird two tails
Yeah.
and stuff.
Satellite
Yeah.
imagery represents just one possible layout of the aircraft.
Oh, so
For
we actually
reference,
don't
the
know
first
what it
image
looks like.
suggested an aircraft with a canard wing design. However, renderings attributed to Boeing's NGAD proposal show a clean delta wing configuration without canards. Boeing reportedly uses advanced computational design tools to iterate aircraft concepts digitally before physical prototyping. This means the final production F-47 might look completely different from the test aircraft, depending on its intended role. It would also explain the accelerated design and production pipeline that would allow the aircraft to be deployed in less than 15 years from start to finish. Another question concerns the crew complement of the F-47, which might be one of the most critical decisions in the program's development. This time, the decision reveals how the F-47 will be operated and function in combat. There are two options here, a single-seat configuration, like modern US fighter jets, or the double-seat configuration of the old F-14 or F-15E that was replicated in China's unveiled J-20S. A single-seat configuration offers obvious advantages in reduced weight, lower costs, simplified systems integration, and better stealth characteristics. In this configuration, the onboard computer and AI would handle much of the sensor fusion, threat analysis, and drone coordination. It would allow the single pilot to theoretically manage the entire battle network while focusing on high-level strategy and critical decisions. But there's a problem. Current AI capabilities, despite their impressive advances, still can't match human judgment in complex, time-critical situations. Military AI might excel at pattern recognition and data processing, but struggle with contextual understanding and ethical decision-making. Add
I
to
reckon
that
just ask
sensor data
ChatGPT.
coming from possibly a dozen smaller CCA aircraft, and there's a distinct possibility that it will be impossible to train a fighter pilot to take in and process all of that information and make a commanding decision while also flying the plane. The double-seat configuration allows for a weapons system officer specifically trained in drone coordination and sensor management. This human-AI partnership could prove critical during complex missions where split-second decisions determine success or failure. The F-15E's proven two-person crew model demonstrates how dividing responsibilities between a pilot and a weapons officer can result in improved mission effectiveness. Of course, there's a possibility that the F-47 could have a configurable cockpit that can operate in either single or double-seat modes, depending on mission requirements. High-risk penetration missions might use single-seat configurations for maximum stealth, while complex multi-target strikes could employ two-person crews for optimal coordination. Speaking of the cockpit configuration, the F-47's cockpit represents the culmination of an evolution that began with the F-16's revolutionary hands-on
come a long way.
stick HOTAS controls and continued through the F-22's integrated displays and the F-35's helmet-mounted display system. While the F-16 required pilots to look down at mechanical instruments, the F-22 and F-35 brought critical information up to eye level through advanced heads-up displays and helmet systems. The F-47 will likely take this concept to the futuristic level with augmented reality. Instead of looking at screens or even helmet displays, F-47 pilots will get projections that overlay tactical information directly onto their field of vision. Imagine seeing enemy aircraft highlighted in red, friendly forces in blue, and optimal attack vectors.
Call of Duty in real life.
The same configuration pioneered by the F-16 and refined in the F-22 and F-35 becomes even more critical in the F-47, where pilots need unobstructed views of multiple information streams simultaneously, with multiple semi-autonomous drones to coordinate, each filled with potentially tons of explosives in their payloads. Every square inch of cockpit real estate matters. And this integration and communication between the F-47 and its drone swarm extends to the entire philosophy behind the aircraft's design. The F-47 doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a range of military transformations begun at the end of the Cold War and which aim to improve America's power projections in an age where China has leapfrogged in its own technological prowess. This strategic shift becomes clear when you examine parallel developments across every military domain. The B-21 Raider bomber provides long-range precision strike capabilities that can hit any target on Earth from secure bases in the continental United States. The next-generation penetrator bomb can destroy underground facilities that previous weapons couldn't touch. The US Space Force is deploying satellite networks that provide global communications and surveillance coverage. Even the Marine Corps is undergoing radical transformation, shifting from heavy assault capabilities to distributed operations across thousands of Pacific islands. This island-hopping power projection strategy relies on long-range precision strikes and intelligence sharing with the US Navy and Air Force rather than massive amphibious invasions. The F-47 ties all these capabilities together through its unprecedented range and loitering capacity. With its generous 1,000 nautical mile engagement range, it can operate from secure bases while projecting power deep into contested territory. This represents a fundamental shift from Cold War military thinking, where platforms had to get close to targets to be effective. The F-47 and its associated systems can dominate entire regions from distances previously reserved for long-range ballistic missiles carrying nuclear weapons, making traditional area denial strategies obsolete. As we speak, F-47 prototypes are conducting classified missions that are shaping the future of air warfare. These aren't just test flights, but operational evaluations designed to prove concepts and refine tactics for the conflicts of tomorrow. The 5-year head start revealed in March 2025 suggests American air superiority is more secure than anyone realized. While adversaries develop countermeasures against known threats, the F-47 has been quietly establishing its dominance in ways they can't even comprehend yet. Every secret mission flown, every system tested, every tactic refined brings America closer to an air warfare capability that will define the next generation of conflict. The F-47 isn't just another fighter, it's the platform that ensures American pilots will continue owning the skies for decades to come. When this monster finally emerges from the shadows fully operational, potential adversaries will discover that they've been playing checkers while America was mastering three-dimensional chess. Secret flights were just the beginning. The real show is about to start. Thank you for watching.
Do you know what that makes me think?
What?
Do you remember there was all of those drone sightings at one point?
Oh yeah, in America.
In America?
Yeah, true.
I wonder if that was this, doing test
Maybe. I don't
flying.
know. But that's crazy how they're literally about to bring like Call of Duty into real life.
I've never played Call of Duty, but
that's
flipping
crazy.
War Thunder.
Yeah, true.
Just like,
everything's all highlighted and the different colors and everything. You probably get like a little congratulations or like a little like a trophy unlocked. A trophy unlocked if you get like a kill or something. It's like a whole reward system.
All of that information was like. It just kept going.
Yeah.
Like all of this groundbreaking stuff. I'm like, how do they even think of this? Also, like he said, everyone's developing technology to fight against their current planes.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but they're already ahead.
They're like, we've already been 5 years into this new thing. And also, what we've told you about it may or may not be as good as it is.
Yeah.
It may or may not look like this.
Yeah.
But just know that it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just to keep them like on their toes.
It's out there and it already has a target on your town, so...
Imagine what I wonder when they're going to bring out like an Iron Man suit like for like soldiers.
Bro.
This makes me feel like we're not that far off.
This makes me...
That's crazy.
I was like, shouldn't we have flying cars by now? And I'm
true.
We've got this.
Yeah, we've got this instead.
This is where it's at.
Yeah.
But I wonder when the future of warfare will involve full AI, because it was interesting that he touched on AI can't make that
The
moral or ethical
human
decision.
needs to make the final
Yeah.
judgment call. But are we ever going to reach a point in the world where all those decisions are actually handed over to robots so that there is
then what's the point?
so
We've
there is no
counted-
moral repercussions?
But we've counted
technically.
ourselves out of even fighting.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, where does that stop?
It's like push a button and then let all the machines go do the work.
yeah, and then they're all up there fighting and everyone's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, what's
What's the point
the
anymore?
point in that?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't know, it's weird. It's weird when you
Yeah, it's really
start
strange.
integrating AI. Is this the first we've heard of AI really integrating
Being
into
a
the
part of it.
military?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed that one, make sure you smash the like button. Let us know if there's anything else that we need to check out, because that was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was coming.
That's probably one of my favorites that we've watched.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And also make sure you check out Atlanta's channel. She's probably got a whole bunch of stuff uploaded over there. And also, oh yeah, if there's anyone in like the military or associated with the military, I have been trying for months now to try and go and see like an Air Force base or go and see like an aircraft or like a helicopter or talk to a pilot even like that. I just think that would be such a cool, experience to have. And yeah, I've been speaking to a bunch of people, and it just seems like it's quite hard. But I totally understand that because we're not US citizens, and there's obviously a whole bunch of security things and everything like that.
We're going to be like, get out.
Yeah, come
Who
on.
do you think you are?
Go back to your armed sheep.
Yeah. Also, if you are developing this new aircraft and you want to show it to us,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, want to
we
give us
wouldn't say no.
give us a ride?
yeah. Can we hitch a ride?
And also check us out on Patreon. There's a whole bunch of daily vlogs, behind the scenes things that are going on because we're probably in America right now.
Traveling.
So if you want to follow us, that's the place to go. And we love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.